If you serve long enough, there is always one man you remember more clearly than the rest. Not because he was the loudest or the bravest or the funniest, but because there came a day when you had to decide whether to leave him behind. For you, that man was Carter. Before that day, he was just another shape in the line, another pair of boots in the mud, another helmet in the trench, another voice in the dark. He joked when everyone was too tense, listened when no one else did, complained about the food in a way that somehow made it easier to eat. You were not best friends. You did not trade secrets or make promises about what you'd do after. You just shared the same cold, the same fear, the same exhaust fumes, the same sky. The morning everything changed was gray in the way only winter mornings at the front can be. Colorless, blunt, indifferent. The ground was half frozen, half mud. Snow clung to the edges of craters and the broken bones of trees. Smoke from earlier shelling drifted low, mixing with fog and turning the air into something you could almost chew. Your squad moved along the edge of a field that had once been a farm. Fences crushed, barn burned out, a plow half buried in the earth like a relic from a world that didn't have uniforms or ranks. The order was simple. Cross the field, reach the ruined stone wall on the far side, hold until further notice. Simple orders rarely stay simple. You were halfway across when the first shell landed. There was no warning whistle, no distant thump to give you time to throw yourself down. One moment your boots were sinking into the mud, the next your world was light and fire and noise. You hit the ground, not by choice, but because the blast picked you up and dropped you like a stone. For a few seconds, maybe longer, you heard nothing. Just a high, thin ringing, like someone had struck a giant metal plate inside your skull. Your vision blurred, the field reduced to shifting shapes and falling dirt. You tasted soil and cordite, and something that might have been blood. You blinked until the world came back into focus. Men were shouting. Someone was screaming from somewhere you couldn't see. Another shell hit, closer this time, showering you with mud and splinters. You crawled, no plan, just away from the last explosion and toward whatever cover there might be. That was when you saw Carter. He was lying on his back, a few yards to your left, one leg twisted at an angle that legs are not supposed to bend. His helmet was gone. Blood streaked his face, but his eyes were open and very, very awake. His rifle lay out of reach, half buried in the mud. He saw you at the same time you saw him. "Hey," he said, like he'd just tripped in a hallway. "I think I'm staying here." Another shell landed, farther off. Your body registered it as vibration more than sound. You crawled to him, mud sucking at your knees. "Can you move?" you shouted. He tried. His hand went to his thigh, then stopped. The color drained from what was left of his face. "Not so much," he said, through clenched teeth. The stone wall, the objective, was still 20, maybe 30 yards away. Some of your squad had reached it, silhouettes pressed against broken rock. Others were scattered across the field, some moving, some not. The shells kept falling, irregular and cruel, giving just enough time between them to hope the last one was the final one. Behind you, someone yelled, "Fall back! Anyone who can move, fall back to the wall!" Carter heard it. You saw the order land in his eyes like a verdict. "Go," he said. "You heard them." You did hear. That wasn't the problem. We can drag you. You're not that big. He managed a laugh that turned into a cough halfway through. You remember the training ditch? I'm dead weight. You'll get killed and I'll still be here. He wasn't wrong. You looked at the distance to the wall. Too far to carry him. Maybe close enough to drag if you were fast, if the shells took a break, if luck decided to be kind for once. That was too many ifs in a place where men had died for less. Another shell landed. Closer again. Dirt rained down on both of you. Something hard hit your shoulder and bounced off. Carter flinched, then forced himself to go still. Go, he said again, louder. That's an order if you needed to be one. He wasn't your superior. He had no authority over you. But sometimes men use the language of rank when they don't want to say, "Please don't die for me." You could have gone. No one would have blamed you. They would have called it survival, common sense, the smart thing to do. Command writes orders for units, not for the one man lying in the mud with a leg shattered beyond repair. You didn't move. You weren't thinking about honor or courage or what some future story would sound like. You weren't making a statement about the value of one life over another. You were just looking at a man you knew, not well, not deeply, but enough, and realizing you could not, would not walk away while he was still breathing. "Shut up," you said. "You're coming with me." He stared at you, as if you were the one who'd been hit in the head. "You're an idiot," he whispered. "Probably," you said. "Grab my collar." You rolled him onto his back more fully and slid your arms under his shoulders from behind, your chest against his, your legs braced in the mud. He grunted, then bit down on whatever sound would have come next. His hand caught the front of your coat in a grip so tight it was almost painful. "On 3, you said. 1, 2. You didn't say 3. You just started pulling. The mud fought you every inch. Your boots slipped, your thighs burned, your back felt like someone was driving nails into the muscles with every movement. Carter's weight dragged like an anchor. Every time you gained a meter, it felt like the field sucked half of it back.
Shells kept falling, some near, some far. You lost track of distance and time and everything that wasn't your own breath and the sound of Carter gasping behind you. At some point, he started talking. Nonsense, memories, fragments of home that spilled out between clenched teeth. A brother's name, a street, a dog he used to have. You didn't answer. You couldn't. All you could do was keep pulling. At 10 yards from the wall, someone saw you. Hands reached out, grabbing your pack, your sleeves, Carter's arms. They helped haul you the last distance, dragging both of you behind the broken stones, just as another shell landed where you'd been seconds before. The blast threw dust and shards over the wall, peppering your helmets. You lay there, chest heaving, unable to move. Carter was beside you, teeth sunk into his lip hard enough to draw blood, eyes bright with pain and something else, something like disbelief. "Welcome to the party," someone said, out of breath. Medics came. They worked with the efficiency of men who had seen too many versions of the same wound. They cut his trouser leg open, wrapped tourniquets, injected something that made his eyes unfocus. They talked past you, around you, over you. "He'll lose the leg," one said. "If he makes it out," the other replied. They carried him away on a stretcher, back along a trench you hadn't even realized was there. The field, the wall, the shells, all of it blurred as the adrenaline bled out of your system, leaving nothing but shaking limbs and a hollow, buzzing quiet in your head. Later, when the shelling stopped and the world narrowed to the crack of distant rifles and the occasional murmur of an order, your squad leader dropped beside you. "He told me what you did," he said. You nodded, not trusting yourself to speak. "You know the directive," he went on. "If a man can't move on his own—" "I know the directive," you said, sharper than you intended. He studied you for a moment, then shrugged. "Sometimes paper doesn't cross the field," he said. "We'll call it a judgment call." Years later, after the war, after the uniforms, after the medals that didn't feel like they had anything to do with you, you got a letter. Not from Carter, from his sister. He'd given her your name, told her, in words you never would have used, that you were the reason he came home at all, even if home meant a different kind of life than he'd planned. You read it at a kitchen table that didn't shake when artillery landed. Your hands still trembled anyway. People like to talk about heroes. They like clean stories with clear lines, courage on one side, fear on the other. But the truth is messier. On that field, you were afraid. You did not want to die. You did not want to drag another man through mud while shells fell around you. You did not want to risk your own survival for his. You just didn't walk away. If you serve long enough, there is always one man you remember more clearly than the rest. Not because you saved him, or because he saved you, but because there came a moment when the rules said one thing and you did another. And for the rest of your life, when someone asks you what loyalty looks like, you don't think of flags or speeches or anthems. You think of mud and weight and a hand on your collar that refused to let go, even when you told it to.